Tantor Audio, a division of Recorded Books, presents Moth to a Flame by Michael Omer, narrated by Rachel LeBlanc. Chapter 1. The thing that the principal refuses to understand is that Ron Hammond, the missing history teacher, cannot be replaced. Everyone agrees about that. Well, all the girls agree about that. The boys in the class couldn't care less. Ron Hammond, with his well-developed body, his tight-fitting shirts, his amazing hair, his "Please call me Ron," accompanied by a devilish smile full of perfect white teeth. Who can replace that? No one, that's who. And yet, a replacement there is, teaching us about the 4 freedoms. Is there anything more important than freedom? The human race has always strived for freedom. Freedom from oppression, freedom from ignorance, freedom from persecution. How we long to soar on the wings of freedom. Specifically, how I would love to soar on the wings of freedom out of this lesson about the 4 freedoms in Roosevelt's State of Union speech in 1941. It's quite impressive how dull freedom can become in the hands of a boring teacher. Can anyone name the 4 freedoms in Roosevelt's speech? Anyone? Freedom, 1, speech and expression. I'm sure that back in 1941, President Roosevelt's speech was all the rage. People probably talked about nothing else. They would be like, "Hey, Sam, have you heard the State of the Union speech?" And Sam would reply, "Have I? Why, I've listened to it 3 times today. It's my favorite State of the Union speech. I have a poster of it in my room." But I'm not sure I can relate to it the way they did. Definitely not when the content of the speech is being dismantled by Mrs. Fletcher, the replacement history teacher. Freedom for freedom from fear. I'm pretty sure that once you assign numbers to freedoms, they begin to lose their meaning. I sigh and glance at Coral. She is sitting, her entire body alert, drinking in each and every word that leaves Mrs. Fletcher's mouth. Her long auburn hair tucked carefully behind her ears. How can someone concentrate so hard on anything? Perhaps she's sleeping with her eyes open? Or dead? I poke Coral with my finger. She slowly turns her head and looks at me. Her eyes are full of uncomprehending irritation. Who are you, and why are you bothering me? Her dark brown eyes seem to ask me. She turns back to the teacher. Perhaps this is not Coral. Perhaps it's just her body, her brain snatched by aliens. Only in Narrowdale do aliens, snatch the brains of students? I guess not. Okay, Amy, stop mucking about. This lesson is important. I open my notebook, leave a few empty lines to fill in the missing details, and begin summarizing Mrs. Fletcher's wise words. When the president says, "Beware the eagle of America," he lists his dreams with world stage. I stare at the sentence I just wrote. I might have missed a few words there. I definitely spaced out for a moment, and she probably said something important that I didn't write down. Either that or President Roosevelt was a pretty strange guy. I sigh and put my pen down. I can't really listen in class. That's something that other people do. I'm more of a not listening in class kind of girl. I look at the time. That's impossible. 23 minutes left? We've already been in this class for 5 days. Has time really stopped altogether? What are the president's thoughts about those who do not support what he is asking? Anyone? He thinks that Mrs. Fletcher should receive an award for the way she says anyone. She says it as if it is merely a cough or a sneeze, something that punctuates her lifeless monologue. By no means is it a word that implies that she is interested in having someone say, "Yes, I know the answer to that." I idly wonder if Mrs. Fletcher will stay. She's been teaching us for almost 4 weeks already. It is by far the longest a replacement has stayed ever since Ron Hammond, the previous history teacher, disappeared a month and a half ago. The first replacement was Mrs. Thompson, a young, energetic teacher who immediately acquired the unhappy nickname, the Brain. She started out by mispronouncing half of the names in the class and followed by trying to get us to introduce ourselves by stating our name and favorite animal. That tactic blew up in her face almost instantly. It took her 10 minutes to get everyone to calm down after a cat/reproductive organ pun. Later, she accidentally said that Boston was a state. At least I assume it was an accident, no way to be sure. And when she wrote the word amendment on the board, she spelled it amedment. Then argued with one of the students for 5 minutes, claiming that is how the word was spelled. Finally, she was reduced to tears, left in the middle of a lesson, and never returned. I checked the time again. 17 minutes more. Impossible. I draw 17 squares in my notebook, preparing to check every minute until the end of the lesson. Pathetic, no doubt, but one has to survive in this climate of utter boredom. 1 minute down already. Hooray! The second replacement was Mr. Romanus. He had some interesting, though not exactly desirable, traits. It was generally agreed upon that he showered only once a year between July and August. After that, when it rained, there was no point in showering. One could simply stand on the street and wash. And the winter was too cold to get wet. The front row quickly retreated to whatever empty seats were available in the back, escaping the noxious odors he brought with him. The second row wished to retreat as well, but no empty seats left. Mr. Romanus also managed to say several strange things. When Tiffany had asked to go to the bathroom during the lesson, he'd replied, "Yes, go ahead. Maybe you'll manage to produce something wiser while there." And when Bill ate a snack during class, Mr. Romanus told him, "I don't allow eating during my lessons, and I think that in your case it is an especially bad idea." Well, it's true that Tiffany is not the brightest bulb in the electricity shed, and Bill is a bit overweight. Those remarks were frowned upon. Mr. Romanus was quickly fired. I took 3 more minutes in my notebook. I think about Peter. Last time I met him, we had a nice short conversation about the weather. I couldn't think of anything better to talk about. I should prepare a list of topics for next time. I doodle in my notebook, try to draw Peter, to catch his cute smile, his dark eyes, his short cropped hair, his... I stare at the page. This is not Peter. This is Charlie Brown after he fell into the hazardous waste container. There's a reason I never draw. Then I let myself get lost in images of Peter, his uniform sitting snugly on his wide shoulders, Peter walking with me in a sunlit meadow, Peter smiling at me in a restaurant, Peter emerging from the swimming pool, his torso wet. Is it getting warm in here? 2 more minutes pass by. And then we got Mrs. Fletcher, the woman who can dry an ocean simply by talking, who can make a rainbow seem dull and gray, who can suck the life force out of a person with nothing more than a string of words delivered in an incredibly monotone voice. The only mildly interesting thing about her is her mustache, which immediately sparked a discussion in class. Why doesn't she do something about it? Doesn't she know it's there? How many hairs does the mustache have? Students tried repeatedly to count, but Mrs. Fletcher insists on talking while she's in the class, making the mustache move. But can anyone compare their determination to mine? Or their boredom? I start counting. 1, 2, 3... Finally, the last minute is ticked, the bell rings, and Coral and I join the throng of students walking towards the cafeteria. 17. I report to Coral. 11 on the left side, 6 on the right. Isn't that strange? You'd think a mustache would be symmetrical. Maybe she started plucking it off and gave up in the middle? What do you think? I have no idea what you're talking about. Coral says. We enter the cafeteria and am momentarily blinded by the neon light. Why do they make it so bright? Do they really want us to see the food better? Coral and I locate an empty table and sit down. Mrs. Fletcher's mustache. I managed to count the hairs. 17, 11 on the left.
Mrs. Fletcher has a mustache?
Haven't you noticed? I ask, dumbfounded. It's like the first thing you see when she walks in the room. Seriously, first her mustache comes in, then she follows. You never spotted it? You're really weird.
Right, I'm the weird one, not you with your mustaches.
Haven't you been paying attention? It's Mrs. Fletcher's mustache, not mine.
Whatever.
We sit down at an empty table.
Did you start studying for the math test?
There's a test tomorrow? I panic.
Tomorrow?
She looks surprised.
No, next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday? Like a week from now?
It's a very important test.
I didn't know there was a test, I say, getting my sandwich from my lunch bag. How did you find out about it?
How did I looked at the test date sheet, of course.
Oh, right. I lost my date sheet and haven't bothered printing a new one. Maybe I should study with Coral. It couldn't hurt. When are you planning on studying?
I started 2 days ago.
2 days ago? I nearly shout. Is she seriously studying more than a week in advance to a math test?
It's a very important test. This year's grades are taken into consideration for our college applications.
College? What college looks at your 9th grade scores?
All of them,
she says, her eyes haunted.
You seriously should start studying.
Shane sits down next to me, plopping a cafeteria tray on the table. What's up? He asks. I glance at his tray, nearly losing my appetite. I tend to avoid the cafeteria food in school, but Shane eats it every day. Somehow he manages to stay in perfect health. His plate holds peas swimming in green ooze, rice that seems to have been both overcooked and undercooked, and question mark meat. The question mark being the animal this meat belongs to. This, I say, is one of the longest days ever. Do you guys feel it? The dimension of time stretching to infinity?
Isn't time already infinite?
Coral asks, quirking her eyebrow. Well, more infinity then. Infinity times 20. Only in Narrowdale. Shane starts. I half smile at him. I can almost see the cogs in his brain spinning, trying to concoct a weird story. Does a brain have cogs? A brain should definitely have cogs. Only in Narrowdale does a bus go around the town at midnight completely empty.
Does it have a driver?
Coral asks. It does, but no one can see his face. The bus doesn't stop at any bus stop. Its windows are dark and it has no license plate. Its engine makes no sound, I suggest. I take a bite from my sandwich.
And the air becomes colder when it passes through,
Coral adds. Right, Shane says. And when it completes its route, it stops near the mall for 5 minutes. No one gets on, no one gets off. Are you done? I ask. I guess. He shrugs. Only in Narrowdale, I say, my sandwich momentarily forgotten. Only in Narrowdale are there teachers with asymmetrical mustaches. 11 hairs on the left side, 6 on the right. How is that even possible? Chapter 2. The school day finally ends. I feel like I should get an award for surviving it. Coral and I leave together. Dozens of students fill the corridor trying desperately to escape this prison of force-fed knowledge. But tomorrow we will all be back. As we get closer to the school bus, I slow down. I think I'll walk home today, I say.
What?
Coral looks at me in surprise.
Why?
Well, why, Amy? Seriously, think of a reasonable answer. Fresh air?
Suit yourself.
She shrugs.
I'm going on the bus.
Okay.
It'll give me more time to study for the test.
The test that's a week from now? I ask a bit snidely.
It's very important.
Okay, I get it. I interrupt her.
Anyway, I don't have so much time on the weekend,
She says.
So I should really cram in as much studying time as I can before that.
You're right, I say. There will be no studying time this weekend, and you know why?
Let me guess,
She says, smiling.
Maybe it's my friend's birthday and we're going out?
That's right, I say. It's your wonderful friend's birthday. That would be me. There is no studying on my birthday.
Absolutely,
She says.
Did you invite Shane?
Well, I kinda wanted this to be a girls' night out, I say. Nicole and the Jennifers are coming over for the weekend. Why? Do you think he'll mind?
I don't know. It's hard to know with Shane.
She shrugs.
I suppose it's okay. It'll give him food for thought. He'll probably imagine us wearing shorty pajamas and having a pillow fight.
What?
You know, shorty pajamas, pillow fight, the standard male fantasy for a girl's sleepover party.
Seriously? I raise my eyebrows. Why a pillow fight?
I don't know,
She says.
It's a mystery.
Should I tell the girls to bring their shorty pajamas?
There's really no need.
Okay, your bus is about to leave, I say, pointing at the bus.
Right, bye.
She quickly runs towards the bus. I turn around and start walking home. Why are you walking home, Amy? Why is fresh air so important all of a sudden? Could it be that fresh air is not the real reason for this midday walk? Is it possible that, in fact, there is a completely different reason? Perhaps you've managed to memorize a certain security guy's shift schedule and you're pretty sure that he's patrolling right now? Is it even possible that you've also managed to plot the route of his daily patrol and, happily enough, it could intersect with your route on your way home? Is there a remote possibility that all this was orchestrated for a chance encounter with said security guy? No, that would be ridiculous. Ha ha, the very thought. Ha 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 ha. Fine. Maybe it's possible. But seriously, fresh air is really important, right? I mean, I stay inside this stuffy school all day long, breathing in the sweat and stench of boys who have not yet discovered that deodorant is a thing. Could you really blame me for wanting some fresh air on my way home? I reach a small junction. If I continue straight to Jefferson Street, I'll get home faster. I turn right towards Fairfax Street. The air is fresher in that direction. And yeah, okay, Peter's route always goes through Fairfax Street. The sky is bright blue, and although it's a bit chilly, the sun casts warm rays upon the street as I walk. Noon in Narrowdale is a sleepy time of day, though frankly, when isn't it? There's that musky, pleasant smell in the air that is frequent after rainfall. I would have thoroughly enjoyed all that, except I've reached the end of the street with no Peter in sight. Where is he? Maybe he started earlier and has already passed through, or perhaps he's late and is only about to reach the street now. In that case, I could turn around and walk the other way to hopefully meet him, but how would I explain the fact that I'm walking towards school? And let's be frank, there's a point at which all this semi-stalking is no longer even remotely cute and instead becomes a bit disturbing and incredibly pathetic. Fine. Sadly, I carry on towards my house, resigned to the fact that all I got from this trip is fresh air. Stupid fresh air. My feet hurt. There's really nothing wrong with the school bus and its stale air. Seriously, from this day on, I intend to reach places only via vehicles. That's why man invented wheels, so that his feet won't hurt. A police car drives by me and turns onto a small street I never noticed before. Lake Street. That's odd. Usually there are no police cars in Narrowdale. That's why we have private security. If a police car is present, it means something pretty serious is happening. And that, among other things, might explain where Peter is. He is at the Serious Thing place, which is probably on Lake Street. I mull over this as I walk onward. What could have happened? Well, that's a stupid question. This is Narrowdale, so pretty much anything could have happened. I begin to feel curious. I stop and turn around, heading back to Lake Street. At least now I can say that meeting Peter is just a bonus. I am mostly just curious. What could have warranted a police car in Narrowdale? 3 police cars, in fact. They are all parked around a small, shabby-looking house. One of the officers is in the process of tying a police tape around the premise. 3 more officers, 2 men and a woman, are standing on the sidewalk, talking with each other. "Hello," I say in my naive and innocent voice. My voice has come in many tastes. Naive and innocent is a popular one, but I also have charming and full of humor, melancholy and deep, submissive and chaste, my mother's favorite, and the new, freshly developed one, tantalizing and mysterious. Still working on that one. I think it currently has a bit of hysteria and desperation in it. "There's nothing to see here," says one of the policemen. He reminds me of my old Mr. Potato Head. A big, potato-shaped body, hardly any neck, short limbs, and mismatched ears. I take another look at the house. Without the crime scene tape, it would be one of those small old homes in which old men and women live, sitting all day on the porch, talking about the good old days when young people had manners. However, a crime scene tape makes everything seem more ominous. "What happened here?" I ask.
"Little girl, you can't be here,"
says the woman officer. She has sharp features, especially her nose, which brings to mind an angry woodpecker. I don't like her at all. Little girl? What little girl? "I'm just walking home," I say, the very example of innocence. "Where is your home?" asks Mr. Potato. Ah, interesting question. Home, in fact, is back the way I came, but I don't know if that would be a good answer. I do, however, have a perfect answer in Anthony language. Anthony language is a rare known language that Anthony, my brother, claims to have invented. The thing with Anthony language is you connect several syllables together in a way that sounds as if they should make sense, except they don't, and you mumble a bit. For some reason, people expect teens to mumble so they don't find it odd. In such a way, you can answer any question and carry on as if nothing happened. "Oh, I live on Burgerflurf Street," I say, motioning my hand in a way that pretty much encompasses half of Narrowdale. I can see the officer frowning, trying to decipher my answer, but the entire point of Anthony language is to avoid giving him the time to do that. "Where's Narrowdale's private security? I thought they're supposed to be the first responders in any—" "Amy?" "Bonus time." "Peter," I say, smiling at him as he exits the house. He looks at me, his eyes full of concern. I look back, engraving the image in my mind for later use. As always, he looks striking in his uniform. I wonder if he had it tailored to fit him so well, or if it was pure luck. His face is different somehow, sad and shocked. "Amy, what are you doing here?" he asks. "Is everything okay?" I ask, ignoring the question. Yes, no, not everything is okay. You can't be here." "What's wrong? Why are the police here?" "Little girl," the potato cop starts to say, but Peter is already at my side, his hand on my shoulder, gently leading me away. I try to concentrate on being coherent despite the hand-on-shoulder situation. "The policeman said this is a crime scene." What crime? Something happened to the lady that lives here, and what happened? Is she dead? I ask. What? His eyes widen, and I realize that I'm right. No, of course not. Amy, don't you need to go home? Not really. Okay, but I do have to get back there and, Look, please go home, okay? It was really nice to see you. His hand leaves my shoulder and he turns and walks away. Who lives in this house? Is she really dead? What did Peter mean when he said it was nice to see me? Why 3 squad cars? Is it possible that the woman was murdered? Was Peter really glad to see me? Chapter 3. I finally get home, take the key from my bag, and open the door. Ever since Mom started working in Narrowdale's library, the house is empty when I get back from school. I drop the school bag in the middle of the living room and march to the refrigerator. There's a note in Mom's handwriting tacked to it. I scan it quickly. Hey, sweetie, there's broccoli and lasagna in plastic containers in the fridge. Don't heat them in the container. It isn't healthy. Put them on a plate. And please eat at least a bit of the wholesome food I made before you start consuming the usual trash. If I find your school bag on the living room floor when I get back, I will burn it and dance happily around the fire. Love, Mom. I open the fridge, move the plastic containers aside, and locate some chocolate pudding. I open it and lick the lid. It is a scientific fact that the pudding on the lid is somehow much tastier than the pudding in the cup. Then I take my phone out of my pocket and dial Coral. Hello? Hey, Coral, how are things? Fine. She does not sound fine. She sounds on the verge of hysteria. Coral, you won't believe what happened today. I already know what happened. You walked home instead of taking the school bus because you're weird. I really don't believe it, yet somehow it's true. That's right. And I saw 3 police cars outside a house on Lake Street. Listen, I'm in the middle of studying. I met Peter and he told me that the lady that lived there is dead. There's a moment of silence. He told you that? She finally asks, astonished. Well, not exactly. Amy, I have to study. But he didn't say otherwise, and the cops were acting really weird and... Bye, Amy. She hangs up. Well, to be fair, I didn't have any expectations. I call Shane. Amy, he says. That's me. What's up? You know Lake Street? No, what's on Lake Street? Well, currently there are 3 police cars there. A woman who lived there died. Really? Shane asks. There's a pause while he considers this information. How did you know? Well, Peter was there, and he didn't exactly deny it. He didn't deny it? Didn't exactly deny it. So, let me get this straight. You went over to Peter and said, Hey, Peter, is the woman living here dead? And he answered, I can't exactly deny it. It wasn't like that, and in fact he said she didn't die, but you know how sometimes people lie and you can sort of feel it? Amy, what's going on? It just looked kind of suspicious. Yeah, you can count on the police to turn up when things get suspicious, he says. Amy, what exactly are you looking for? I think a bit. What do you mean? I ask. I mean, Tom Ellis was just sentenced to life 2 weeks ago, right? I wince. For a moment, I'm back there, tied in the darkness, the foul taste of the gag in my mouth. Tom Ellis whistling above me. Then I recall the way he looked at me in the courtroom, the way he smiled. I shake my head, banishing the images back where they came from. What's Tom Ellis got to do with anything? I snap. Well, you gave your testimony in court. You were in a couple of police interviews, and suddenly it's over. He's in prison. Yeah? Never mind, he says and sighs. Well, I think I need to study now, I say, irritated. That sounds like a good idea. Bye.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?